graphic.
Yep.
Don't forget. Are we good?
Yep.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of Their Side, the live side. And today we are going to be speaking to Pete Franklin, otherwise known as the Penguin. And we will find out about how he was named the Penguin. And we're here in Goliath in Brunswick. And yeah, I'd just like to start with saying thanks to Adrian and Tim, who are our behind the scenes people today. And hopefully Tim, there we go, Tim's going to cut to himself. And Adrian is just monitoring the social media side of things and going to be sharing it and answering a few questions for you guys and making sure that you're all able to see it. So also, I just wanted to kind of mention that I wasn't around in the 80s and I wasn't in Australia because I am a New Zealander. In the 80s, I was doing other things. However, as a documentary filmmaker, I'm more about wanting to know the story behind everyone's skating, I guess, careers in Victoria, and that's why I've, thought about making this live series, and also the documentary. So, please, as a disclaimer, I don't know everyone in Victoria or in the world of skating. I'm more interested in just hearing their side, or skaters or retail people or anything like that, their side in regards to skating. So forgive me if I don't know everything that everyone's talking about. These live shows are around about 45 minutes long, and I know that I'm talking for about 2 or 3 minutes. But it's just to kind of outline what these are all about. And so we will be touching on, and I know that especially with Pete, there's, 30, 40 years worth of information.
30 maybe.
30 years. Yeah. So, and to combine it, to condense it all down into 45 minutes is pretty hard to do. So we're just pretty much going to be going from the start, and we're going to be, free-balling it. And we're going to get through to the other side in about 45 minutes if I can keep Pete on track. Cool. So thanks, Pete.
No worries. Thank you. Welcome to Goliath shop we're in at the moment.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess can I, go right back to the start. So did you skate when you were younger, or did you get it? How did you get into skating?
Yeah, I skated. I grew up with I had 3 brothers. Probably the 2 middle brothers got me into skateboarding and stuff, and I grew up in just over the back here in Moonee Ponds, and we had a supermarket come to town, and they ripped down houses, and we had a car park from 12 o'clock Saturday to Sunday. It was ours. So yeah, I was sort of led along by my older brothers and stuff like that, and yeah, just that's what it was. The 70s. It was, it was all banana boards and GTs and Condors and real crap, real crap stuff. So there wasn't a lot of compared to what a skateboard's like today,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good fun though.
Yeah. What kind of? So you mainly hung out at the supermarket car park, or did you?
Yeah. Oh well, it wasn't just for skating, like it was for everything. We played cricket, football there, and all that stuff. With all the kids in the neighbourhood. Just it was a place to hang really. Yeah.
And so, what was it about skateboarding? Because I mean, I've only been doing it for 4 years, but it's really it's sort of got me, and I've got the bug. But what was it back then that kind of made you want to keep going?
I don't know. It was rolling, there wasn't shops around. I didn't even know where we got them. I was pretty young compared to my brothers. And
how old were you?
I would have been somewhere between 8 to 10. So the idea of owning money and having your own money, or crap like that. It wasn't, you know, it was a little Mooney Ponds bogan, mate. There wasn't pocket money or anything like that. So I was always on the hand-me-down end of stuff. So, but rolling around was just awesome, you know, trying to keep up with your older brothers, and, you know, it was all just skating through cones and, you know, trying to get over a curb or something like that, or a bluestone gutter, you know. It was all pretty crap. Yeah, I wasn't even any good, you know. I was, you know, never professed to be any good, but it was just fun, you know. Chalky wheels, you know. I don't know if you remember, chalky wheels were like a clay wheel, sort of. I think it was urethane or something like that. You know, they built a bunch of shops across the road from the place we skated, and it was all fresh concrete. And the wheels were so hard you could skate and write your name in the fresh concrete. So all those shops there have our names spelt out with long, you know, with skateboards. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's pretty dumb stuff.
So what happened after that? I mean, you grew up and you continued skating, and what,
No, I didn't really. No, I just kind of, you know, it sort of didn't really hit. I don't even know how old I was in the 80s. I reckon I was, you know, in the early 80s. The first time I kind of noticed skateboarding again was like on a current affairs show, really. And it was, I think, Tony Hallam and a bunch of mates skating a backyard ramp on, you know, like the backyard ramp thing had hit Australia, you know. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I, again, with my brothers, I used to have, I got a job, you know, and it was like, you know, all my brothers had a job at this one place, and it was a hardware store.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. My brothers would go and become apprentices and stuff like that, and the two youngest ones, we were just goofballs, you know. So anyway, the business sold, and this company called Yodgi's bought it, and they used to sell camping and sports gear and stuff, and then, but sort of slowly started integrating things, and then the late 80s, you know, like skateboards hit, and they had already had been selling surf stuff, and so that kind of reintroduced me to skateboarding in a big way, and it'll get spiked, you know, like you would have seen, you know, from last week with Dave's collection and stuff like that. That 80s era was just off the charts, you know. It was crazy. It was this massive spike of sales and stuff like that, and it was just like that. That sort of got me back into it. I was probably 24 and married. There you go.
Yeah.
So I didn't really skate that much, you know. Had a roll around here and there, but, you know, still not very good. But selling it, I suppose, became, you know, what I started doing, and, you know, it used to drive me crazy, you know, like in those days, you know, the kids would spend, like, they'd buy a lot of plastics and all that kind of stuff. And it was $300 a lot of the time, you know, and there wasn't much on for them, you know. There was a few kids that got sponsored, and there wasn't that many comps and all that kind of stuff. So, and it sort of, probably by 89, it sort of faded out again, and the shops stopped, you know, like stocking it really.
So between when and 89, was it the heyday?
Probably 86 to 89, probably 87, it sort of hit pretty hard.
So really only about 3 years.
Yep. Yeah, Vision Streetwear hit. We sort of, you know, with clothing brands came into it, and Airwalk was around, and stuff like that. And, you know, Powell was huge, Vision was huge, Santa Cruz was huge, you know. It was just indie trucks, Gullwing trucks, you know, all the stuff you see spewing back now on reissues, you know. It was all there.
So in that 3 year period for you working in a store that sold it, was it kind of this, I guess, a bit of a flood, and then all of a sudden it just went, and you just went,
fad,
went with it?
Absolutely fad orientated, you know, like bang kind of pop, sort of like yo-yos and stuff, but you could see that, you know, people skated, you know, like they became skaters, you know, and it's sort of, you know, like from that era, I remember, you know, like Renton used to hang around the Mooney Pond store, and Travis, my mate, he used to he got a job there and stuff like that. And so these guys just stayed skaters the whole time, you know. So, but I don't know whether they're getting boards or anything like that. So
yeah. So even though the fad, I guess, had died,
yeah,
or that people were still skating. Because I know talking to Tony, Tony Hallam, he would say that he just continued to skate all the way through.
he would have. I remember. Well, Tony used to come in, you know, like there was nothing around, and because, you know, he was a collector. He was always asking for stuff and things like that. So I'm sure he was always able to access, you know, skate product. But whether he was buying it from overseas or, you know, getting it from Hardcore or John Hurren or whatever, I don't know. You know, but like, it wasn't probably until the early '90s it started to happen again. You know.
So what happened? So did you stay working at Yogi's?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, sort of managed their stores and.
And there was no skate gear though?
Not really. Surf had taken over. Surf had got really big and, you know, big and lame. And, you know, it was like, sorry, surf people, but, you know, I've never been a fan, you know.
Yeah.
I like it, you know, but like it's just this sort of, you know, like they just, same T-shirt next year, you know.
Right, okay.
Sort of like whatever, you know. So as far as the business side of it went, you know, it was pretty, you know, very conservative market, surf, I think, compared to skateboarding, you know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so... yeah, so I reckon around about 92, it started coming back, you know. I could see it in the streets when I'm driving to work and I'm seeing it driving around, I'm seeing kids on boards and they weren't necessarily riding new boards or anything like that. They were just probably riding their old brothers' boards like I did, you know. But you could see it coming back and the Yogi guys were like, no way, you're not putting skateboards in.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, come on, man, like it's happening, you know. And I'd worked my way through their business to, you know, like we tried to take the pressure off them as a family and created buying units within that thing. And so I was doing a lot of buying. And so we used to have these managers meetings and, you know, have a few drinks and roll a few joints. And that was pretty casual. And yeah, that was fun. And then we, you know, like I kept bugging them and stuff. And then I think in the end they said, look, you can put 5 boards in or something like that, or 6 boards, and I'm like, far out. Yeah. So, you know, like there was no room in the shop. I had to figure out how to even display them, and I just got some old, you know, concrete Rio wire and hung them up off the roof, you know, suspended them. And over time, kids started coming in and kids were looking and you could see it was sort of happening. And yeah, it was, and that was it. That was the start of that.
So could you see that was going to happen again?
Could feel it.
You could feel it?
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, I don't know why, but I could tell, you know, I could just, yeah.
Was it you driving to work, seeing kids skating, were you thinking it from a business point of view, or were you thinking of like, let's get skating back in, or? Yeah, look, well, it brings pretty cool people, you know, like it's just the best, you know, like you want that kind of, if I'm going to go to work, I'm going to want to have fun and I want to have those kind of people around me, you know. Yeah. And that's kind of the way what I've loved about it, I guess. And apart from, you know, how gnarly it is, but yeah, like I could see it happening and stuff. And you know, so we started, doing it and got them in. And then, yeah, and it sort of like took care of itself from there, I guess. Right. And during the, I mean, going back to, you know, sort of 86, 87 when it was big, did you have any, you know, big names or anyone come in, or anyone that was doing pretty well, or anyone that you remember from now?
Oh man, I remember we did like an in-store, you know, with Alva. Holy shit, that was insane. We had this like, I was in the Mooney Pond store, and they had these like, you know, you see the cabinets behind me. They had this like 70s kind of cabinet. It was really long, you know, but it was like, wasn't metal, it was plastic. Right. Yeah, so like, and it was like big long shelves in it and all that sort of stuff. And there was like, when these guys rocked in through the back door and kids wanted to get shit signed, they were trying to touch them, you know. And it was, this whole cabinet was bending over, man, like it was on its axis. It was like, you just imagine it's about to shatter and all these kids just fucking get chopped up. It was pretty funny, man.
Oh my God.
I know, and you know, that was just such a crazy time, you know, because it wasn't video. It was a little bit of video was starting to come in, VHS into homes. It's starting to happen, but so everything was like still pictures and stuff. So they couldn't, you know, kids were crazy, you know. I remember a phone conversation with John Hurren, who does JHS, and he toured the Bones Brigade around, and he said when they got to Paran, he goes, they had like a little tour van thing, and he goes, it was insane, you know. He goes, it was like little boys screaming like they were at a Bay City Rollers concert, smashing on the van, you know. It's just like, let me in, you know. And it was just like, they were like fucking freaking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've got that. Tony's given me all his tapes to transfer onto, you know, for digital.
Yeah, right.
And I remember seeing some of that, and it was just people running across the street. It was just, it didn't even look like Paran. Like, it was just
no.
so many people there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
I know. So that was about it for most of them. Went through, I think, surf dive. I think in those days, and what was the other one? The Globe had a shop down there called. Well, I can't remember what it was called now. Geez, I'm old.
So how many shops were there around? Were there like 3 or 4? Or?
There was there was one called Cheapskates. That was some guy that had a music business, and I think there was the Globe shop. There was Yodgi's. There was Max down in Elstonwick. He's still going. He's an OG. He's such a lovely bloke. Yeah, so good. Troy. Yeah. And I used to work in the Elstonwick store. So, you know, the kids would come between, you know, Troy's store and our store, and it'd be like, you know, oh, fucking do good down there, man. You know, it was like that sort of rivalry, you know, trying to G the kids up all the time, you know.
Yeah.
The kids would like skate with their, you know, like pads around their ankles and look at the, you know, the caps that hardly ever got on a ramp, you know. It was just the look.
And what about the guys that, you know, like Rich Hyatt and all those kind of guys that we know now? Were they around at those times? Well,
they were, but I didn't know them. I met Zach probably a lot later. I knew, you know, I kind of, they would have known, like I knew Bogdan, but I didn't know him. I knew of him and all that sort of stuff. And there was, but we all, you know, everyone knows everybody, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, it's like, they would have known about Yodgi's, and they never came in though, or anything like that, because they had their hookup elsewhere, you know. It was a bit like that. They just needed to get their gear and get to a ramp, you know, with the next session or whatever.
What happened after that? What happened in the early 90s, 92, I think? You know, you managed to get like 5 boards in. You managed to get there and get the interest back up.
Yep.
Did it just take off from there, or?
Oh no, it was still a lot of work.
And you were still with Yodgi's?
Yeah, still with Yodgi's and stuff. And I mean, you know, they didn't care, you know, like so much about it, but I could see it was worth doing. So I started with, I think it was 5, probably from hardcore. And then, so things started to sell. So I'm like, you know, you ring your old mates, and I rang up John Hurren, and what are you packing? And his stuff was pretty crap. You know, he didn't have old school because there was none left. There was no reissues, you know, at this point. So he just had some crappy brands and stuff. He did have some stuff later, you know, got onto some okay stuff. But then, you know, like I kept hearing about this company, you know, like Koala, you know, and I'm like, what? So I'm looking up Koala, you know, it's like, but it was Kwala. It took me ages to find him. I finally found him, and man, he was just, Andy was the best, you know. He was Andy McKenzie, and he just had all the brands. He had an indoor skate park, and you know, up in Queensland, and he was really invested, and you know, like, yeah, it was amazing. It's sort of always felt like it happened in Queensland before it happened anywhere else as well. Okay, right. Once I connected with those guys, you know, it was sort of like nothing. There was kids skating and stuff, and I'm sure there was, you know, like when you talk to like some of the, you know, like kids, you know, that were skating at flatlands in the city, like they'll be like, "What are you talking about, Penguin?" Like, fuck, we skated the whole time, you know. But like, where they were getting their stuff or whatever, we didn't know, you know. But you know, like we kind of learned a little bit more, you know, along the journey of what was out there. You know, there was other shops. Surf Dive had boards, and then a little shop opened under, you know, where Federation Square is. There was that Princess Bridge. There was a little rad shop there called Shifty 40, and that was the Reginatos. that was a good one. That was, they looked after the boys, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they were good.
What happened? I mean, when did you leave Yodgies? Was it soon after that, or what happened?
No, I did. Yodgies was like, it sort of went, you know, bananas, sort of, for Yodgies, like, for what we're doing, I guess, mid-90s, you know, like, because, you know, what we're able to do is, like, generate these sales and stuff, and then it just happened to coincide that all this footwear started to come back into the market, and that was the money maker for Yodgies, I guess. You know, it was insane. It was like, it was such a good time because the market was embracing stuff. So if a new brand came out, like if you try and bring a new brand in, footwear brand into skateboarding now, it's like, what the fuck? You know, like, it's like you got a gun at your head, you know, it's just like, what are you doing? Yeah. But now you can just put anything on, man. We've put the biggest pieces of turd on the wall, and people would just go, yeah, no, I'm into it, you know, and it was just a really good time. So, you know, the footwear generated so much business, clothing brands started to come out and stuff, but right early on, we were able to, you know, pick up some of the best. I convinced them, right, to sponsor kids. I said, it'll go a long way, trust me, right? And they were like, no. I'm going, yeah. And no. And like, I kept rolling joints, fucking drink a beer, you know. Eventually we got there, you know. And, you know, we got there and we put on, I can't remember the first. I think the first one was Jeff Curtis, you know. And he was like, if there was such a good skater for his time, you know. He's just amazing and like self-marketed really. And, you know, so from there we were like, wow, you know, and there's this little munchkin over in Camberwell because I used to work, at that point I used to work around at all stores. And there was this little kid that was just amazing, you know, like little kids were enigmas, right? There wasn't this, it's not like it is now, you know, like there wasn't enough skaters for a start. So to have a little kid one and have one that was exceptional was incredible. So this kid was Tristan Walker and we just grabbed him, come on mate, let's come along on the journey and stuff. And then Travis, you know, who I'm so indebted to, is Travis Pertzel was like telling us, you know, like I said, we got to do, can we get anyone, like, can we get some bigger names that people would know and stuff? Like, what about Dom, you know, Dom Kekich? And so he spoke to, you know, Dom was down and, you know, Dom is, you know, amazing, you know, like he's definitely one of my favourites, you know, and he came on and then it just grew and like, and then we started doing skate comps, so, you know, and that was incredible, you know, like there wasn't too many around at the time, so I think we did them coincided and like something that people should do, you know, take it to the people rather than, you know, these days skate comps happen in skate parks, so you just get like people that want to see it, you don't, but if you take it to a ready-made crowd, you know, like we just did so much for skateboarding at that time. And
so, like, are you talking about demos and stuff, like in shopping?
No, we run skate comps because the kids were starting to get pretty good, you know, like they could kickflip now, you know, they could do shit on a skateboard now, you know, like they weren't just using it for transport, they was getting real good. And there was a skate park in the city called Sale Yards, and that was the office and the, you know, the clubhouse and all in one for them, so they could get it done. And so we started bringing in these crappy mobile ramps. They were so crap. I won't say his name, but anyway, and we used to bring those in and stuff, and you know, did the first one. They cut off a road for us next to Queen's Park, and that went well. Everyone liked it and stuff. So the next year, we did another one, I think, and this time, yeah, we had a car on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
So people were.
Well, the idea was they were going to set the car up with a couple of bank ramps, so but to go over this Renault, which was dumped in the back lane at the shop. And I knocked on their door and I was like, "Hey, what's with the Renault?" And they go, "Oh, this guy's he's fucked off overseas and stuff. Just take it." And I go, "Can't do that, man. Does anyone here skate?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I'll be back." And I came back with 3 or 4 4-on-1s, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man." These guys were more metal. Had a metal band and stuff, and so they was just like, they like skateboarding and, you know, like they like smoking weed, so it was perfect, you know.
That's awesome. So
we took the thing down there, and I remember we're setting it up, and, you know, Renton gave us some advice saying that, look, it's a bit dangerous, you know, like it's the main obstacle on the thing, so we made some changes and used the bank ramps as bank ramps, and like with a quarter at one end, so you could sort of transfer across. And the car got put to the side of the course and had a little kicker. So kids were coming along, and like a couple of guys were able to get up and, you know, hit the fender and stuff like that. Anyway, I think this is a funny story because I remember, I think it was Ranson's run, and he was coming along and wasn't going so well. So, like, you know, skaters do. Fucking got his board and he just fucking smacked it against the back window of the car, right? And one of my buddies was in there rolling a joint. He got shattered in glass, you know. Anyway, and ever since then, you know, like for the rest of the day, that car got beat up, right? And at the end of the day, when the comp finished, like kids just destroyed this car. Wow. And they just jumped on it and they were just kicking the shit out of it and banging on it with the boards. It got friggin' rolled over, right? It was on its there. It was right out the front of the fucking Mooney Ponds courthouse, man. It was so funny. And anyway, and this chick's come running up. She goes, "Those kids are going to set this thing on fire." I ran this comp with Dean Zammit,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Grant's brother, yeah. And he goes, she goes, "We've got to do something." I said, "Oh fuck, give something away. Let's start giving shit away." And Dean's just got on the mic and said, "All right, kids, get away from the car. You know, we're going to give shit away." And then that was it. That was pretty much a killer product toss. Was fucking everything went, man. Like, wow. It was crazy as. And I remember we had to tow the car back to the back of the shop, and it was just on the rims. Yeah, it was just going up the road, and it was hilarious and stuff.
Classic.
Yeah, and it came back into play. It got used again, like not long after that. They rebuilt the Strathmore Mini and they wanted us to open it and stuff. So we're like, look, you know, you see we're getting a lot of kids to the skate shit now. Like, can you bring a grandstand out?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And anyway, so we've got this grandstand put out in the middle. I don't know if you've been to Strathmore, but it's Boeing Reserve, man. It's the middle of nowhere, right? Yeah. Middle of fuck Knuckleville. What the hell goes on out there? There's this fucking grandstand. We're like, how good's this, Trav, you know? We got a little thing. The mayor wanted to open it, and so the mayor met us all and stuff like that. And there's like this lady, Roz, that helped us do this shit, and there's all these councillor dudes that took the day off work to come down, and we're like, this is a bit official, you know? Anyway, this Roz girl gets this phone number, and she's like, the what? The fuck? The fuck? What? Hey? And she's like really intense lady, you know, and she gets off the phone, she goes, Peter. I go, what? He goes, come here. He goes, someone stumped that car at the back of your shop. I go, what the fuck? How could that happen? You know, like they had no idea. Someone's complained. This thing's been there for months, you know. Yeah. And it was bloody hilarious. So I said, I'll get rid of it, you know. So she was freaking out because, you know, her bosses are all standing there. So that was a funny thing. And
oh, man.
Yeah, that was a good, I think that was the opening. So Tony Hallam came to comp and it blew us away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it was an invitational, and I didn't think of Tony to, you know, I didn't invite him. Yeah. Sorry, Tone. Anyway, and you know, I get out there and I'm like, oh, come on, man, like, what are you doing? You know, like, everyone's like, come on, he's got to come in. And we're like, yeah. Won it, blew us away. You know, every trick he did on that wall, he did switch on that wall. It was just incredible. Really? Yeah. Don't ask me what the tricks were. Might have been a boneless or two, but. You know, but that was good. It was a good day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah, and we sort of kept going with all that shit, and then probably retail was, you know, it was really busy at Yodgies. It was, you know, 4 stores, but they really held their own. And but I was trying to have kids, and trading was getting longer, you know. Right. Saturday all day. Saturday was, you know, we used to go to 2 o'clock. Then it was all 5 o'clock, and then Sunday was coming in, and I'm like, no way, man. Like, come on, fuck this. Yeah. You know, and so, yeah, and like there wasn't. I didn't really want to work anywhere else. Like, I didn't pick this joint, but like, I didn't want to work for other companies, right? I didn't want to work in a surf industry. But you might have picked that up from before. You know, I didn't want to work down at Port Melbourne. No disrespect, but it didn't. Yeah. And I didn't want to be a sales rep. Fucking having kids and driving everywhere, no thanks. So, you know, but I still, you know, like I thought, well, what can I do, you know? And anyway, these guys at Black Flies you know, like, you know, missed the mark. The skate's going to be huge. Well, they got into it a bit late, I'd say, you know, and so only for that time, you know, but it was a good move that they got into it. But they got into it and they picked up a footwear brand, which was Vision Streetwear, which was like the horse had bolted, you know. That was the start of, you know, people consolidating footwear, really, you know. And Vision Streetwear wasn't what most people know Vision Streetwear as. Like, Vision Streetwear was trying to do the big chunky shoe, and you know, it wasn't that great. Sorry, Brad, love you. But anyway, that was that was tough, and they bought a lot of shit. They bought a lot of shit skateboards, and so I'm like, okay, I'll come over. I'll quit Yodgies. I'll kind of help out here and stuff. And in those days, you know, I guess the first job I had to do was get rid of all that crap. Yeah. I had to sell footwear, sell Vision. I was doing Vision and Goliath. There was two separate companies and running them both. And then like we started, you know, there was an era of blanks. You know, like blanks were like the original shop boards, or you know, like the dude down their park these days selling their brand. You know, stuff like so. That's, but it's you know, it was really good for distros. You know, it gave them good cash flow and stuff like that. So yeah, so we started doing that, and then.
So how did Goliath come about?
Well, because they started, they needed, Black Flies wanted to diversify, right. And so they just jumped in, you know. Water's come in, boys, the water's fine. Yeah. You know, it's like, you don't need to know shit about skateboarding, it's that easy, you know. Well, yeah, right. It ain't that easy, you know. Yeah. It's anyone thinking of it, doing it, just give it up. Just keep drinking beer or whatever you're doing. Don't get into it. But it's so they bought a lot of shit. They got stitched up basically. Oh, okay. They bought a lot. We're not like talking a little bit. We're just like, let's go, let's see how it goes. It's like, nah, I'm fucking just pulling the ripcord here, bang. You know, this is like, in they went and just fucking, they bought all this shit, and it was like, are you fucking shitting me? This stuff's pus. I would never have bought it for Yodgies in a million years, you know. Yeah, yeah. There you go. And I could sell anything there, you know. So it was like, first job was to get rid of all that sort of stuff, and then, like I said, we started introducing our own brand of blanks, and I saw that, you know, Vision was the main company. They only had Vision, I think, at that point, right. You know, and so they did some shove-it blanks and started bringing a bit more of that stuff, trying to create some cash flow, and then picked up this thing called what do you call it? Imperial Distribution, right? Which was Maple, which is no longer around. Dynasty, which is no longer around. 151, which is no longer around, and Judo, but they didn't last long, but we sold a lot of stuff, you know. Maple was a good solid brand. They bought out, they were trading off the back of this video called Black Cat, which I'm sure a lot of the collectors have got out there, you know. I bet you do. And then that sort of started to fart out a bit, but we kind of, that inner bogan in me, I guess, took to 151, you know, and did really good with that. And that was like, the team on that was like Darren Navarrete and Peter Hewitt, Chet Childress, you know. It was just like really good. And it was like the only kind of brand like that around at the time. And so we just pumped it hard, and sort of, we had a really good team. We had Anton John Day, Noah Phillips, Dorfus, and Jeffrey Klasevsky and Joel Webb. Yeah, so they're all old men now, except Dorfus, RIP, buddy. So, but you know, they're all, yeah. Anton still skates like he did then, you know. He's amazing. But yeah, so that was that, and then still, you know, like we needed to think about sort of making changes again. So we knew that.
Why did you need to make changes?
Well, we could tell that, you know, things weren't quite right there at Imperial. So right. It was Charlie Watson, Watson's Laminates, and probably wasn't happy, like it was probably sucking a lot out of his business, not getting enough sales back. So anyway, and the opportunity came up with Tumyeto, and that was brilliant. And just, it's probably at least 15 years now, and those guys are awesome, So that's Toy Machine, Foundation,
Right.
Pig.
Yeah.
There's been other brands through there like Hollywood and trucks and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where we are. It's that's the main stay of our business here, and stuff. So over that journey, doing the time here, we can look after more skaters, and we've been able to. We're not we've had some good fun times. We did Decline Footwear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we were able to put a lot of guys on that, or get a bit out there, and that was interesting. Trying to grow that one, and it was always going to stay a boutique brand, but because towards the end of that, we had the Corpo brands coming in, which has really had a big effect on skateboarding, particularly core brands, but yeah.
And how long have you been in this location for?
18th year in this building.
18th.
Yeah. And it's an old knitwear factory, man. It's insane.
Yeah.
This was actually a shop, so we used to store sunnies and stuff in here, because it was bright, I don't know. I don't know why. But anyway, so when Decline was going to cease for us, we had a couple of warehouse sales and decided to clean it up a little bit, not too much, but and then a few people were, it was a common theme that people were like, man, open a store. What are you doing? I go, well, I come from retail, we've got to look after the retailers, we don't need a store. And it just kept coming, dude, do a fucking store. And so we listened to the people a little bit, and we trialled it out for a patch, and then, and then started. And mate, there's been some lonely days in here, trust me, but you get stuff done, and but it's great now. It's a store,
Yeah.
so it's fun.
And has it do you get the foot traffic through, and you get,
Yeah.
retail good at the moment?
Oh, I don't think retail's good. I don't think retail's good for too many people, but it's and that's just a sign of the times, I think, when there's money around, skateboarding does exceptionally well,
Right.
It's but when things tighten up, it's it's like that, like for tradies, jet skis and motorbikes get sold,
Yeah.
It's like, it's just the way it is, so and it's not, we're not it's not dire straits or anything like that, but I'm sure a lot, a lot of the shops suffer, when I was in Moonee Ponds, the Yodgies would negotiate with the owner of the building that they rented from, right? It's an old Jewish bloke, right? They'd go, oh, we've got to put the rent up, property's going on, the old sort of story. And it'd be like, well, what do you want it to go to? And go, oh, we want 120, 150. I go, mate, we're paying 60, we want to pay 50, And it was this classic arm wrestle, but you'd negotiate, and they'd always get a good rent, good outcome, right? But all those buildings that people are in and all that sort of stuff, that's all been sold now. And then someone would have paid $3 million for it. So they've got some poor old retailer's got to jump in that building and cover that by its loan. And if it's not happening, it's not happening, So, and so hardware in particular, would suffer, and stuff. So, but it's growing here for some reason. Thanks for the support, people.
What is it about Goliath, do you think, or the shop
I don't
that
know.
brings people in?
Don't know. Treat people well, to treat them the way you want to be treated, Trying to build a little connector for all the young kids in the area and stuff like that. I don't know, man. We get a lot of beginners, We get a lot of people that want to connect to skateboarding. They have never skated. I want to skate. What do I do? and stuff like that. So just give them give them pointers, point them in the right direction. You know, I don't know, just help them.
Do you think? I guess my experience is other stores can be quite intimidating.
Oh, well, just, yeah, fuck them. Don't do that to people. People don't want that other stores. Be nice to people. Yeah.
What does the future hold? Can you
for us?
look into your
Oh, well, yeah, I think the future's, it's fine. You know, like, look, you know, when I started looking at this, when I had to pull the money out of my pocket and put it down and say, this is what we're doing, like, the first thing that had happened, you know, it was in the 90s, we had Fitzroy Bowl, you know, it was skate, there was nothing. There was Paran, there was vert ramps and stuff like that. There wasn't a lot around, man. Like, so, you know, look at the infrastructure now. Like, oh, can you keep up? I can't keep up. How many new parks were there this month? You know, like, far out. And that's what is going to be fine. That's why, you know, skateboarding is going to be fine. You know, it's when they start jackhammering, you know, like, and taking them out is, you know, will be a problem. But like, it's, you know, like, you got to. There's so much happening, you know, like, people don't want to break boards like they used to, you know. So a lot of people go to like local skate parks. You go to a local skate park, you get blown away by this ripper who's just hanging on to his bag of tricks and all that sort of stuff. There's a bunch of scenesters, you know, in skateboarding, but there's so many people that is doing it, you know. Like, think of it like, in a business sense, why business would be harder now is because, you know, like in the vert era, you know, like there was this like vert or nothing. It's pretty much all the imagery you saw, you know, from the 90s to you know, like nearly, you know, probably to about 2015. It's just like street, you know, now you know, since longboarding came back, the soft wheels giving people back the streets, you know. And so there's all kinds of skateboarders now, you know, like you've got the dudes that want to be like, you know, I want to be, you know, like be a street skater, hooked up on all the rad companies, all that kind of stuff. You've got guys that just want to skate street and do not give a fuck. You've got guys that just want to hit skate parks. You've got girl skaters coming in. There's bowl skater girls, street skater girls, girls that just want to roll. You know, like, where do you market this stuff to, you know? Like, how many Instagram accounts do you need, you know? It's like, and has Instagram fucked up skateboarding? Yeah, yeah, you know, it's insane. So, but yeah, like, so, yeah, so it's a lot harder, you know, that side of it. It's not as simple as just, you know, putting an ad in a magazine and creating videos and all that sort of stuff anymore. I think it's a lot more, you know, because it just, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, like with Heliclips, you know, things you got on the front page and they'd have the stats there. And just like, it was like a stock market crash. You're watching the stats, you know, like all of a sudden something so rad comes out and it's getting a hit of 800 views after a week.
Right, yeah.
You know, so people are sort of, you know, like, you start asking people, you know, like, oh, Paul Batley brought out a new clip out, you know, have you seen that? And they go, yeah. And I go, and after a while you go, did you watch that clip? They go, oh, I saw it on Instagram, you know.
Right, yeah.
So no one's watching shit properly, you know, not as much. And there is so much shit, let's face it, you know. So, you know, when does that stuff sort itself out? I don't know, I'm not a doctor.
I guess that's the thing, isn't it? I know that, you know, I never watched, you know, skate videos when I was growing up because I wasn't skating, but, you know, a lot of the skaters I hang out with now, they're like, oh, there's this video and this video and this video and this video.
Yeah.
And then someone mentions to me Day One Song and I go, oh, yeah, I saw him on Instagram.
There you go.
I've never actually seen a DVD or anything like that. And then I had Matt Tesserero, hello, big shout out.
Hi, Matt.
He came around one night and he brought a USB stick or whatever, and we watched a whole bunch of actual videos like that, you know, that had been saved. And he was going, oh, okay, cool, let's watch a whole VHS kind of thing. Yeah. And you're like, okay, cool, I get it now. Like
kids now, and particularly youngies, like, they don't come in to skateboarding and go, all right, who's this Gonz guy? I want to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. He's a 50-year-old, man. Come on. You know, like, they don't care. And why should they, you know? They don't even care about what happened in the 90s. They want to dress like it now. But, like, it's insane. It's changed so much, you know? Like, you know, we used to, like I can still remember going to one of the wood shops in the States, right? And I'm fucking, there's all these boards on the ground. I'm tripping over them, going, "The fuck's this shit?" You know? And he's like, going, "You haven't heard of this guy?" I'm going, "Should I?" And they're like, he goes, "Oh, this guy's a YouTuber." I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Yeah." So you probably know where I'm going. It was my introduction to Revive, right? Fucking hell. And he starts telling me about this guy, and he goes, "This guy's making 10,000 boards," and that was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm like, "What? That can be big in skateboarding, you know, depending on who you are." And then like he goes, "Yeah, he's does these YouTube clips and stuff. He's got like squadrillion followers. He makes $4,000 a month off that, and his Instagram makes $3,000 off that." And I'm like going, "The fuck am I doing wrong?" You know, like the fuck. You know, and I didn't think anything of it, you know. And then so, you know, go back a bit, you open a shop, and every little kid that comes in, and they're just talking Revive, talking about pros that I've never heard of. And I'm like, I thought I knew a lot, you know. And I'm like, what the fuck? But after, so the shop was great, you know. I would have a churro and this other kid, Adrian, and I'd say, "Right, you two, fucking put Thrasher on, classics."
Yeah. Right?
And just put them on there and go, "This is, look, you don't have to learn it all, but look, you got to watch a Heath Kirchart clip. You got to watch this guy. You got to watch this guy, you know." And off you go. And they'd just be like, and that sort of, you know, you could see that changed the way they looked at it and stuff like that. But these guys are out there just fucking with the wires in kids' heads, you know? So skateboarding's a big fucking mash right now. It's kind of cool, but it's weird.
I do like the fact that, I mean, for me personally, is coming in here and getting old school, you know, with all the old school skaters I skate with, it's all about, no, you've got to watch this video, or you've got to see this guy from, you know, way back, and you know, talking about style and all this kind of stuff, as opposed to just going and doing a bunch of tricks. It's all, you know, Tony talks about style and everything like that, and you just think, okay, there's so much to it. It's not just.
Oh yeah.
It's not as simple as it seems.
That's it. You know, you got to learn. I mean, you got to learn as a skateboarder. You know, if you want to, particularly kids want to be sponsored. You know, like just because the trick becomes fashionable, don't learn it if you look heinous doing it. You know.
That's
and
right.
Like, and people have to work that shit out. It's like, you know, they have to get a bit Clint Eastwood on their asses and work out, like, be man about it and go, well, this is, you know, like, and I love seeing people do that, like skaters that I know, and they develop. And like, you know, they used to be like, "Oh man, that guy, I can't watch him," you know. And now they blossom and they skate so well, you know. And because they hold things back and they do what they're good at, you don't have to have the whole roster, you know. Yeah. You know, so it's it is pretty cool. I mean, you know, like everyone's got opinions on what you got to watch and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you know, I'm sort of trying to run a business and I'm fucking watching about like 4 or 5 a day. I'm just over it, you know, like. Not over it, but like, you know, it's insane, you know, because and I remember Dean Zammit coming in here and stuff like that, and he hit it right on the head, you know, and I said, "Oh, have you seen this clip?" And it showed him some clip, and I don't even know what it was and stuff, but his comment I remember, and he goes, "You know what, just when you think it's not changing, there you go, bang, it's just progressed in front of your eyes, you know." And it's what it does, you know, and I sort of snooze on it at times, and then I see something and I'm like, wow, you know. But yeah, it's pretty weird. It's good fun. Yeah.
And I guess you get all the young kids coming in.
Yeah, we have a few pests.
Jimmy is off camera at the moment. He's
we ran out of makeup, didn't we?
That's right. Well, I think Goliath's pretty awesome. What do you think, Jimmy?
Good.
It's good. It's good. He said it's good. He's not mic'd up. Yeah, I think you're right in regards to, you know, what's happening around here, you know, in the infrastructure and stuff like that. So we've got, you know, Brunswick. Has Brunswick brought in more stuff for you? Yeah,
it's been amazing. You know, it's like it's such a look. You know, everyone bitches about the streak section, and fair enough. You know, but it just gets such great usage. You know, and you know, and it's sort of like, I suppose, when they popped Glenroy in between, you know, Faulkner and Coburg, it's just been like we get like this little trickle that way all the way through. But so it's nice, you know, seeing, you know, like I think Renton just did a King of Concrete out at
that's right.
Glenroy.
Did he?
Yeah, and we had this little kid that comes in and he, you know, he's like, he's little tiny, you know, and his mum rang me and he's like, "Oh, can you put some stuff together? He won a board with Renton's Comp and stuff like that. I think he was the only kid in the category, you know, but it was so beautiful, you know, just watching that, and you just know that this kid's got the look in his eye, and you know, in a couple of years people will know who he is, and you know, and it's just watching that all bubble and come back and being a part of that is that's good fun, you know, seeing and watch it.
That is cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And watching some old farts come good. Yeah, that's good too.
It's always good.
I know. Ching put a good clip up today. It was,
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, just carving around the bowl, you know, but he would have been blowing hard at the end probably, but it was a good line.
It's awesome. Well, thanks, Pete. We're going to wrap it up now.
Cool. All right. Everyone have a good Christmas.
I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in, and Tim's having a bit of a conniption at the back because he doesn't know what to push. But anyway,
we can just keep talking.
That's right. But thanks so much, Pete. It's I come in here all the time and we have chats, and it goes for way too long.
I know. I pulled the pin today.
Yeah, you reined it in a lot. But I know that we didn't cover every single thing, and I'm pretty sure out there a lot of people will probably be saying, you forgot about this and this and this.
Oh yeah.
It's because I don't know. So
all right.
Sorry.
Shout out to the Westie crew. You know, yeah, and you know, like I'll tell you what, like. People that have helped me out a lot, the Zamet boys, you know, Travis, Pertzel, mate, well, I don't know where you are, but, you know, you're right here. And, you know, and all the boys that have ever ridden for whatever company, you know, you're riding, you know, you're all still mates forever, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Pete. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Do I have to nominate anyone?
You can nominate someone.
I do have a great idea.
Okay.
It won't be easy for you guys.
Jesus, thanks.
The Zamet brothers together.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Heckle and Jekyll.
Hopefully Grant's not travelling around the country somewhere.
No, they're on the way back.
Oh, they're on their way back, are they? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, there we go. We've got, Pete has nominated the Zamet brothers, so that'll be quite fun. I'll do my best. I do have Grant as a friend on Facebook, lovely social media.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get in contact and tee up a time, hopefully next weekend. So if you're watching.
Yeah, they'll cover some great stuff.
That'd be awesome.
I think Dean's claim to fame is he might have been the first street skater spinoed in Melbourne.
Oh, really? Mm. That's awesome.
Yep. That's how I introduce him to people.
Oh. That's so cool.
He loves it.
All right.
Never says no, so it must be true.
Yeah, that's well, there we go. All right, we're going to leave it there. See you next time. See you next week.
Cool.
And,
oh yeah. Got some light. All right, well, there you go. What is the sun?